What's up guys, Code Doug here, and we're back to discuss a giant week for me playing on some of the most famous poker streams in the world. And we're going to lock in today on high stakes poker, probably the most iconic cash game poker show of all time. And I made an appearance over 2 days where I played some pretty big pots. Day one of high stakes poker was at 200, 400 with a $400 ante. There were some straddles going on, but all in all, it was a fairly quiet day. Up until I got dealt King 7 of spades on the button. I make it $4,000 to go. Gavri makes it $20K with ace jack suited. We're playing pretty deep stack here. And Keating decides to get into the mix, calling with 4 deuces spades here pre-flop. You might be thinking, what exactly happened here? Well, I'm going to walk you through exactly what's going through Alan Keating's mind. He does not yet know that Lucid Poker Trainer is free over at lucidpoker.com. That's right, for the low price of just $0, Alan could know that the worst possible suited one gapper is in fact not a cold call versus 3-bet. Really unfortunate the kind of the way that this played out for him. Regardless, back over to me on the button. I now have King 7 of spades up against 2 players. I think this hand is close. You could call, you could fold, you could 4-bet. We have a classic poker hands type situation developing, but I think I like 4-betting the most. It puts a lot of pressure on Gavri here, who when he's this deep with me doesn't want to put a lot of hands in pre-flop. And then also Alan Keating is going to be calling quite wide, so I don't mind the idea of playing post-flop in position against him with King 7 of spades. This is where things go just about perfect for me. I get Gavri out of the way, he folds the best hand, and I actually get called by Alan Keating with 4 deuces spades, so 4 spades here in our hands pre-flop, and we take ourselves a flop with 2 premium holdings.
He's gonna call.
So fun watching this guy.
Oh my god, and he outflops Doug.
And he hits the 4.
And this is the problem when you play this hand pre-flop. You're never folding after flopping a pair here. And look at Alan, he looks so comfortable. Calling 75,000 pre-flop with spades.
35,000 was the bet and called by Keating.
The flop comes queen 5-4 rainbow, no spades here. Keating checks, and with king 7 of spades, the question is, do I want to be betting all of my hands here on the flop? I think the answer to that is yes. When your opponent has very wide ranges pre-flop and you have a fairly polarized range that includes many strong hands, betting your entire range on dry-ish boards like this will end up being a pretty decent play. It's worth noting if the board is like queen 10-6, probably want to put some checks in. There are more hands that connect with that board. But here I go for a very small $35,000 bet, about 20% pot, and the action over to Alan Keating. Now, when you have any kind of pair facing this small bet, the question is, do you call or raise? And realistically here, I think call makes the most sense. Obviously, you can improve the 2 pair or 3 of a kind on the right turns, and there are some straight draw turns as well. Alan does check call, and we take a turn.
Jack on the turn. Now what, Doug?
I mean, I'd love to see Polk just move in here. I'd love to see it. He's going for chips, Nick.
He's definitely cutting out chips.
I love this by Doug.
He's not moving in. He's grabbing a sizable bet.
I like this even more by Doug.
He goes on the smaller side in accordance to the pot, 70K.
Question is it going to work?
I have no idea.
Oh my god.
The answer is no.
Unbelievable. Keating calls with bottom pair. What a show he is putting on.
The turn comes the jack of clubs. Keating checks once again. Now the question here is, which hands do we want to keep bluffing with and which ones do we want to give up? Obviously you do get to give up some bluffs on later streets, so you don't want to always be bluffing here in these situations when it dictates it. However, there are some things about king 7 that I do in fact like, mainly the fact that I have spades in my hand. I unblock backdoor flush draw hands that check call, check fold, like hearts or diamonds. It's worth noting having a club here is actually the best kind of card. You'd want to have the barrel. You block the most amount of flush draws that might have turned. However, in this situation, there are not a ton of those hands, so we have to be a little bit less picky with which ones we want to bluff with. I also think we're going to split our range into 2 sizes here on the turn. We're going to use an all-in size from hands that unblock some of the hands that could call down most easily. So for example, if I have a hand like 5-4 suited or a hand like pocket jacks, those hands tend to just jam here on the turn with the ability to stack the good hands my opponent could have. And if I have a hand like aces or queens or ace queen, stuff like that, I'm a little more likely to go for a smaller size here to go bet jam, or maybe mix in some turn checks as well. Remember, we have a pot size left here on the turn, so if we do check back, we do get to bluff occasionally, but generally speaking, we want to keep betting in a geometric size to barrel all 3 streets. Back over to Alan Keating here once we bet the turn. I think with 4 deuce, you're just getting such great odds to call the turn, right? You only need about 20-ish% equity to call once again. So he does make the call with 4 deuce, looking for a safe river, and we take one.
Oh my god.
That's a good card for Keating.
It is, but what's going to happen here? Alan checks. Can Doug move in?
I could see Doug shutting it down.
I mean,
but
Polk's got a 7 in his hand.
he does.
We blocked the 6-7.
Oh,
He's
does
going
do it.
for it. Rips it home with just king high. Going for the bluff of the night against the guy who just doesn't fold. And Blez, you've said it time and time again, he's batting 100% on the river.
the river comes in offsuit 3. Allen checks a final time. My question for me now is, do I want to move in with king 7 to it or not? So a couple of things to think about. You don't get to have that many bluffs in your range, given that we are betting so small on the river. However, we're going to be able to go pretty thin for value here when we go bet, bet, bet. Certainly we can do it with a queen. Obviously we can do it with some strong jacks as well, because there are not that many queens in Allen's range, particularly given how wide he is pre-flop. So with those things considered, I think that we really do want to be bluffing with king 7. We want to give up on the river with hands that have a 10 in them, perhaps, where we block straight draws. We want to give up with hands that block the flush draws. So for example, if I had a hand with a club in it. So I think this hand simply wants to bet, bet, jam. And I know what a lot of people are going to say. Why ever bluff Keating? Brr, brr, brr. Look guys, when you play high stakes poker, you can't just not bluff somebody, because if you play like that, then they can start folding to you and you end up in this circular logic. It's not how I play my game. I play a balanced attack, which is why I am proud to say that I jammed this river and lost all my money.
I'll tell you, man, you're watching one of the best head-up, no-limit hold'em players in the world in Doug Polk, and now...
Oh
he
my
does
God.
do it. Go on now.
Oh my God.
Oh, baby.
I bet you guys feel pretty foolish about saying I should check after I lost all my money. As for Keating's call on the river, I think if you end up with 4 deuce here, this is actually a pretty smart call. You unblock lots of hands that could be bluffing. You do block some of the value bets I could have, like maybe a 5-4 or ace deuce. But all in all, you mainly have no connectivity to the board, and you let me have more of the types of hands I would want to bluff with, like, 10-9 or king 7 or things like that. So I don't really know about pre-flop here. Probably let that one go, but I think post-flop, this is a pretty smart call down given the fact you're getting these good odds. And once again, Allen Keating makes a very nice read here to win a $600,000 pot. Moving on to day number 2. This day is chock full of exciting action. Big pots. The blinds got raised. It was an absolutely crazy one, including a couple of over $1 million pots. Let's get into it. Actually, before we get into it, let's talk about my outfit. A little throwback to Sammy Farha and some of the original years of high stakes poker. Although I don't know if I could really pull the voice off. Done.
What?
I had a hand.
I had a hand too. What did you have? A bluff? Oh, you're playing Sammy Farha style now, for sure.
Buddy, we're here to gamble. Not socialize with Robl and Justin. And whoever this old man is, I don't know. Sammy doesn't know this old man.
Our hand begins straddled up to $6,400, and Senior Tilt looking down at ace-5 of diamonds here in what was the big blind, and decides to bump it up to $30,000 to go. Quite the sizable pre-flop open. Santosh makes the call with 8-7 offsuit, and Keating's in there with 4-3 offsuit. A couple of premium hands in the straddles make the call, and we take a flop.
5-5 queen, and it is all Senior Tilt. Boy, this is just continuing for him. Smashing boards. Will he have a customer?
You know,
Seems unlikely, but who
stranger
knows?
things have happened than a Keating float.
Wouldn't be the craziest spot.
Oh my
There it is.
gosh, you've
Oh,
just
dear
nailed it.
heavens.
He's floating with 4 high.
We get an action flop here. It's no wonder this pot will end up being over $1 million with the Queen 5-5 rainbow, Senior Tilt flopping 3 of a kind, and everyone else flopping. Carry the 4. Then nothing. Sam, Kiki, or Senior Tilt decides to open it up with a $30,000 bet in the flop here, totally standard with 3 of a kind on a dry board where you know your opponents are going to be calling pre-flop with lots of loose hands. Santosh gets out of the way, and now Allen Keating with just 4 high, some backdoor straight draws, has other plans than just folding here in the flop, and he makes the loose call, and we take a turn.
Note he can't even make the wheel as it would make tilt to boat. Really kind of lean check for tilt, Scotty.
It's one of those spots, though, that because it's against Keating, and we know he loves to be the hero and make the calls, I feel like I would just have to try to bet, but he comes with a great check.
Door open. Keating says, I'll be that hero. No draw, no pair. Cannot win.
But here I strongly feel you have to call once you find this check.
He's going to raise. You guys don't like this.
Just no one's immune to this, and it's completely okay. There's a lot of theoretical draws out there and a big pot.
Hold on now. We're done with this hand, right?
Well, it's weird for Keating because he's thinking, do you really have a 5? I'm the one who's supposed to have a 5.
and he's probably wondering if he would even raise with pocket queens.
Oh my God, he called 80.
Oh dear heavens.
He has
My
called
word.
80,000.
Yes.
The turn comes the 9 of hearts, now 2 hearts on this board. And the question is for Sam Keating, does he want to continue to barrel here on the turn to try and get value from Queen X? Or does he want to check and look to maybe trap until the river, or even just check raise on the turn? Now, the more good hands you think your opponent has, the better betting is here on the turn. However, checking does make a lot of sense, particularly when you have the ace kicker on trips. Checking allows you to potentially have worse chips bet, and you check raise and get value from those holdings. So I really do like Sam Keaking's decision to check here on the turn with ace 5, and I would like to see him barrel when he has hands that unblock more stuff, hands like pocket 9s or kings. Those hands tend to like barreling more often, and this one makes a nice check call or check raise. It's especially good when your opponent has nothing. And now over to Alan Keating with 4 high. I think with 4-3, you simply just gotta start betting here. You're trying to tell a story. You have 3 of a kind, and that's gonna have to begin with a turn bet. You could maybe check back and look to bluff some rivers too, but generally speaking, you're floating here on the flop, planning on barreling when check due, and that's what we have developing. Keating bets 45,000, and now the action back over to Kiki. What does he want to do here with his 3 of a kind? I really lean towards check raising. You give yourself an opportunity to stack lower trips, get value from Queen X. Maybe there are some types of floated hands that could float the turn when they turn equity, some straight draws, some flush draws, and he does decide to go ahead and check raise. But one thing I did not add into my analysis here was that apparently he will also get floated by actually nothing. For the second time in this hand, Alan Keating floats with just the dreams of trying to bluff a later street. The river comes an offsuit deuce, and if Kiki wants to get another dollar out of Alan, who has the actual nut low, it is not possible to have a worse hand here. He's going to have to check this over. Usually in this situation, players will lean towards a bet to try and win all the money from a worse 5. But if you think your opponent is just floating you, this hand does make a lot of sense to check because you block one of the 5s they can have, you unblock all of the draws. And if you think your opponent is just trying to punk your ass, maybe you give him a little check ski on the river.
I feel like you need to go for all of it here and now, hoping Keating has a...
does check.
Oh my
Oh
God.
my goodness. Senor Tilt is unconscious.
All
This
in.
is unbelievable.
And Senior Turret snap call. That is a near $1.3 million pot.
Instant jam from Keating, snap call from Senior Tilt, and we see a $1.3 million pot heading Senior Tilt's way, with his opponent having nothing but 4 high for the entire hand. I'll give it up to Keating. He certainly tries to go with his reads and make plays he believes will work regardless of his holdings and regardless of how deep the stacks are. However, this is the dangerous game you play when you start doing that, because if your opponent has a good hand and traps you, you could find yourself losing $2/3 million. But back over to Sammy Farha's session, I have managed to win a good number of pots, building a stack to be up hundreds of thousands of dollars. And then I play some big hands, mainly against Jennifer Tilly. The first one, we take a flop with 9-7 of clubs in a very multi-way pot, and we get a monster flop of 10-8 deuce 2 clubs. Calling pre-flop with a 9-7 of clubs, certainly working out here with the open-ended straight draw and the flush draw to go along with it. The hand gets weird quick though, with Jennifer Tilly just calling pre-flop, I would assume to back raise if Santosh or I squeeze. And now I'm faced to call 25,000 here on the flop, and I am out of position on the pre-flop raiser. I think in this situation, you really want to just have only calls. I guess you could maybe have a small raise range, but generally speaking, if you call here, you're going to be a very specific, strong range of hands. And there are so many players left to act, including the pre-flop raiser. I don't really like having raises in this position because it has to be so tight to continue. I end up making the call for this $25,000 bet, and then the action is on Santosh, who has the open ender to the higher straights. He makes the call as well with Jack 9, and then Keating makes a good fold here with top pair, and Gavri folds as King Jack, and we take a turn. And finally, on streamed poker, for lots of money, I managed to make a great hand. Let's just take a moment to take it in. Tilly checks. I bet the turn here with my flush. Santosh gets out of the way. Nice fold from Santosh. And now I think with queens, with the queen of clubs, you're probably going to have to call here in Jen's shoes. You also are drawing live to a higher flush. And if I'm bluffing, you're still ahead. She does make the call, and we take a river.
We played like 3.
That's brutal for Tilly.
This
Disaster.
one's a wrap.
All in.
If you have a flush,
She hasn't called yet.
hand, but I don't have a flush.
Absolutely devastating river here for Jennifer Tilly. Improving to top set, however, it is no good. I have the flush. So when she checks and I jam, really, she only beats a bluff despite having an incredibly strong hand and absolute strength. Can she dig deep and fold this tremendous hand?
Here's what I can beat. A bluff. 6-7. So there's there's no straight out there. There's a flush out there. Okay, call.
Flush.
All right, I fold.
I don't think I could get away from that hand either. Top set, of course, an incredibly strong hand. An unfortunate run out here for Tilly in this hand. We immediately have another big hand with Tilly where I have pocket jacked up against her ace king. We go to war. At this point, the dealer is the one going to be doing the talking.
Classic race.
Come on, ace king.
Can I go twice?
Sure.
All right. I'm gonna root for you, Jensen.
Root for me.
Dog has a lot of. Everybody's rooting for Jack here.
Yes.
Jack's not big.
Come on, ace. Yes,
Yeah. Don't even give her a
King, yes. Okay, now
Okay.
just little cards.
higher.
Oh, no, that's terrible.
It's okay. No, that's not terrible.
What?
Terrible.
Ace of diamonds. Ace of diamonds for the lady with the diamonds.
Hey now.
How about a king? Let's go.
Okay.
Santos even starts clapping.
Five.
Give
Okay,
Doug a
now-
jack.
now-
Do the right thing, dealer.
All right. There we go.
I lose both runs to a very excited table. Thanks, guys. Appreciate the love here on High Stakes Poker. I wonder who they were rooting for. I play another big hand against Alan Keating, where he's dealt his, what I guess is his favorite hand, 4-3 offsuit. This time, I've got the pocket twos and we take a flop, only for there to be a deuce on it. King 5 deuce. I flop bottom set, and best of all, both of my opponents have hands. Justin Gavry, top pair bottom kicker, and Alan Keating with the open ender to the nuts on both sides. Not the exact hand I'd want to have him have when I have pocket twos, but I'm certainly happy to take the action. Tilly bets the flop in a situation that we'll never, ever, ever get through. This reminds me of Johnny Vibes 3-betting with 10-7 on the Lodge when we had aces versus kings versus queens. One of these hands is not like the other. I decide to slow play with my bottom set, and Alan Keating calls here with the 4-3 for the straight draw, slow playing as well. And now Justin Gavry decides we're going to bump it up, raising to 55,000 here with top pair bottom kicker. I don't love this play. Anyone you get action from will have you in really bad shape, or they will have a draw like 4-3. So maybe Gavry's game plan is just raise here. If you get action, you know to shut it down, and he doesn't want to have to check call some later street bets. I don't know. I would lean towards just calling here on the flop as well with my top pair bottom kicker. But he does go 55,000 till he folds. And now at bottom set, I have a kind of weird spot. I'm very deep with Alan Keating, and yet I'm not that deep with Justin Gavry. I think considering the size of this raise, I'm going to only play my range as a call. Anything I do here other than call is going to look tremendously strong, and there aren't even very many good bluff candidates you can have here. So I think we call in position, keep our range wide, and look to play some turns. Once I call, Alan Keating now with a pretty easy spot to call, I think, as well with a straight draw, given that the straight will be the nuts on both sides and there's no flush draw. This is a very strong straight draw here on the flop. He makes the call and we take a turn.
200,000 in there, gentlemen. Big turn card.
And how's Gavry feeling right now, Scott? Not great.
Worse than not great.
Doesn't get much cleaner than that if you're Polk. I think he wants to pick a size to set up something in the pot vicinity against Keating should he choose to continue.
Problem is that puts such a committing size on Gavry, he might not feel he's able to.
Well, just a little north of half pot, I think, does it.
I mean, that's what you want to do, but then that's, almost 2/3 of Gavry's stack. I still think he will, but you can do very many different things here with size. I'd probably like 120 though still.
He does go for a more kind of modest size, like you were saying.
This is more, in quotation marks, sound.
The turn comes a jack completing the rainbow. There will not be a flush this hand. Action checks to me. And I have a very difficult spot on the button here. The commentators talk about it. I would love to bet a size that lets me potentially jam river versus Alan Keating and knocks out some draws. But I also have the size in a way that lets me have some potentially weaker hands that might want to bluff versus Justin Gavry. So it doesn't really make that much sense here for me to go that much above something like $85,000. If I bet 120 or 130, yes, that lets me bet more versus Keating. But now my range becomes so strong. I'm not sure. I wanted to go a little bit smaller and give myself a little bit more room to maneuver. Over to Alan Keating with 4 high. I don't mind any option for Keating here. I don't mind raise. I don't mind fold. I don't mind call. Generally speaking, out of position with the very low hands, you lean towards raise or fold because you will basically never win unless you improve to the strong hands. Even if you pair up, I'm going to bluff the river if I'm bluffing. And of course, if I have it, then you're going to lose as well. So you really need to river the straight, and not really a great situation here for you out of position. He does decide to make the call. Gavry gets out of the way, and we play a heads up river with 3 of a kind against Alan Keating. I need to dodge an ace or a 6.
Can he find it?
He hasn't all day. Still doesn't.
Don't do it, Alan.
Man, when you say it, are you...
Well, he hasn't checked yet.
I know that, but what...
Listen to your hypnotherapist.
What could he ever have There's the check.
I think he just needed a moment to kind of say goodbye.
Correct.
All in.
Wow.
The rich get richer. Polk up
Polk.
$1 million now.
Yeah.
The river comes a queen. There are now 2 straights, ace 10 and 10-9, but they are both impossible given the line. So as far as I'm concerned, I have the effective nuts unless Alan Keating has specifically pocket fives. You guys might not believe me here, but I thought that there was a very good chance that Alan Keating had 4-3 here. And if the river was an ace or a 6, I was planning on checking back. The reason is kind of simple. I think there were not many 2-pair hands that could call a jam, particularly on an ace or a 6. He's not going to have king 6 or ace king. He can't even have ace king preflop. So really, I would just be trying to stack king 5, which would be just about his worst hand there. So if a 6 or an ace came, I was planning on checking this back. And if anything else came, I was planning on jamming it in, except for maybe a 5. I would look to maybe check on the river as well. When there was a queen, I think Alan can have king, queen, and king, jack, as well as king 5. So there are plenty of hands for me to get value from. And when I value bet, I'm going to want to bet all of it. So I do decide to go ahead and go all in on this river. Of course, there's no way I'm ever going to win when he has 4 high, but the point remains. I think I have to jam here to try and stack his good hands despite not getting value here. This moves us to the final big hand that we played, an over $1 million pot where nobody had a pair, and the action begins with a $16,000 straddle for season 16 of High Stakes Poker. A fitting straddle indeed.
By the way, the 16 is working.
Dramatic
16 alert.
evening.
My cup.
Tilly just 23 some odd bigs effective out of nowhere with 360
Wild.
dimes.
Santos here in similar ways. You could see an all in here.
Oh, definitely. Goes for the call. Okay.
We're going to go to a flop. Very interesting spot here when 2 people have the same hand, but one has the lead to see what develops.
Tilly calls. Now I have a kind of awkward spot with king, queen off. I think on this amount of lines, it's good enough to just raise it pre-flop. If you get jammed on, it's going to suck, but you probably just have to call it off. This is the problem when the straddles get this big. There are lots of cooler scenarios that you just have to be okay with, or else you're not going to get to play aggressive enough pre-flop. I make a 70K, and now Santos looks down ace 7. He decides to call. Action over to Tilly with king, queen suited. She could call or jam. She has a very strong hand here. She decides to call, and we take a flop. And oh boy, is it a doozy.
Well, a lot going on. Dual open-ended clubs working for Polk and Santos.
And Jen might feel compelled to lead out, maybe even all in, because of the equities she has.
She hasn't checked yet.
This could just go all in, all in, all in. Oh, and there it is.
She put in half of her stack, 150,000.
I think you're right, Scott. All in call is kind of likely at this point.
There it is. Doug Polk all in. Santos all in. More than $1 million out there. Will Gentili come along for the ride?
The flop comes jack, 10, 5, all clubs, and everyone's got a piece. Tilly and I both have open-enders. I have a flush draw as well. We both have 2 overs, and then Santos flops the nut flush draw with just the ace of clubs. It's rare you're in this good a shape with just the nut flush draw because no one has a pair, and Tilly and I block each other's outs despite both having straight draws. Tilly leads here on the flop. I'd probably prefer to see her check her entire range. And now I have a very easy jam here. I have so much equity. I don't know what my opponents have. I go all in. Santos jams over the top. And now Tilly's got to make a tough decision.
Well, I'm kind of almost all in.
Kind of has to, but it's sort of gross.
Already be beat.
What an insane pot to finish us off. And
It's the end of the night,
thought
folks.
she was reaching.
Can you count how much I have left, please?
Yes, bet.
Thank you.
No?
If I fold, how much do I have
Gonna
left?
get a count.
Also, let me just say, when Santos sees these
Are you okay
hands,
if I give her a piece of advice?
look at the number.
He's a huge favorite.
70% three-way
He's a huge favorite.
with nothing
Correct.
If I tell her a piece
for a
of advice?
$1.2 million hand.
For this price, there's not many hands you can fold. Because there's already like 1 million out there and you've got like...
This is 120%.
So, unless you have if you have a really bad hand, you should fold. But otherwise, you should put it in.
Risky piece of advice. Risky.
That's very interesting.
The jacket is off.
Oh, so excited. It was so fun. I was so happy.
154.
Almost 380. I have 154 left?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay, she's
She's in.
she's
There,
on.
here we go.
And
1.1
Santos is going to
change.
see the most unbelievable news right here.
That's too sick. You guys have gloves.
And he just realized that he has the best hands.
Ace high is ahead.
In this situation, I've been playing pots versus Tilly all day, including having it versus her pretty much every single time. And I just didn't want to see her make a gigantic mistake for an over $1 million pot that I knew would be a big clip. So, you know, you could say I shouldn't tell her that I think she should call or whatever it might be. But at the end of the day, sometimes you have to do nice things, even if they lose you a little bit of money. And my God, did it hurt me because we had the same hand. So now all of a sudden, I'm basically running it only able to chop on the side. A complete disaster for me. But at least I got to be a nice guy. Sammy Farha wouldn't have done that, I think. We decided to run it 4 times. So here we go. 4 runs for a $1.2 million pot.
Where is Deuce? Even the king or queen, we have so many outs. Ace!
Okay, one down for
One down, 3 to go.
Bank of India.
You know, if we hit a king or a queen, we're good.
We are going 4?
Right.
I think we're going
You know
for
what?
it.
No.
They said they're going 4 runs.
Ace!
Nine.
Yes! Hold!
This
Three of hearts!
Deuce of clubs. Don't do it.
Deuce of clubs!
Okay.
God, they should have gone twice.
Ace, give him an ace.
It's pandemonium in here.
Ace of diamonds! Ace of diamonds!
A queen?
Yes,
Oh my God.
Deuce.
Small cards.
Santos immediately stopped smiling on that one.
Can't breathe.
All day.
Santos cannot breathe.
King.
Oh, he's back. He's back.
He's back.
One more time.
And the smile is right back.
Good luck to the dealer.
Deuce of clubs.
There it is. Oh, well,
Straight flush draw. A straight flush draw.
8 of clubs working for Polk.
Oh, 2 outs.
Oh,
Two
God.
outs. 2 outs.
Oh, my God. Didn't we say we wanted to go 6 times?
Not there. Okay.
We run it 4 times and Tilly and I chop 1, so certainly a big L here on this hand, but at least we get a little bit of a rebate. This brings us to just the pure gambling portion of today's show, where in 2 different flips, I have almost the same exact thing happen versus the same person.
There it is.
There it is.
He whips it
Do you have
in.
nuts?
Hands left.
Jen goes, oh, is that the nuts? Oh, no.
It doesn't get any sicker than this.
All my trials and tribulations.
I could see very locked
Come on,
down.
queen.
Still
Tilly.
funny things can
Queen,
happen though,
queen.
unless
Of
an early
course.
queen
Queen,
jack
queen.
is exposed. That would be.
We're probably going to see it, but
Queen.
Oh, there's the Doug Polk queen.
But it's not over.
No, it's not, but sometimes you just feel it. I called
Okay.
it. You just look at the 4 cards and just,
Oh, did Santos find it?
oh!
On the flips.
Is that the jack?
Oh, he got me on this
Santos
one. It's
has
Queen
Queen
Jack.
Jack.
It's Queen
Oh my
Jack.
God. Santos clawing his way out on the flip.
Oh, no.
Must be nice, Santosh. A solid end to the session here to go on that crazy of a rally. And I actually lose, I want to say $600,000 or $700,000 in the last orbit. Truly is some high stakes poker. All in all, over 2 days, I won about $100,000 in high stakes poker. Glad to not book a loss and had a great time playing on the show. Now, before we go, I wanted to take a quick moment. I unfortunately had my dog Binks pass away a couple of days ago. We made a short little tribute video to him and just wanted you guys to know here on YouTube and see it. So, little video of the years we spent with my good friend, Mr. Binks. Thanks, guys. I'll see you again soon. Winner, I brought a little friend with me today. Hey, Binks, say what's up. See you in the chat, dude. Binks, what's up, little guy? Oh, man, he's taking a nap. He was living the good life. He said, guys, don't wake me up unless we're at the final table. And I said, all right, little guy.
You're so cute.
Say hi, Binks. Bluff. Binks, what if we win the W Creek Lane? Imagine all of the treats. Imagine.